Hello everybody, it's Saturday, June 7th, and from now on I've decided that on Saturdays I'm just going to talk about ideas I have, and stories and stuff like that. So if you want to skip it, there. If there is some specific event that happens that's important, I will either put out another video or I will just mention it. So today I'm going to start out with one of my beloved stories that I've worked on for a very long time, the Sage story. Now, I began working on this when I was around 5th or 6th grade, so it's been a long time. Originally started out as playing pretend with my friends. Ended up being a story that I've worked on for years and years and years and redone. A lot of the original characters were based off of my friends, though those characters have changed completely, as well as the story itself has been reworded, rethought of over and over and over again. So I'll start with the big headlines. The story starts with Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were created to be the rulers of the universe in this story. And when they fell, not only did they fail, but the world around them fell as well. And that's where the sages come from. The sages are ambassadors between the forces of nature and humanity. They stand in between the two and kind of negotiate in a way. I should mention this concept and idea. So in the world of the sages, there's things what are known as natures. Basically, the same way we have laws of physics, they have natures. The difference between a law and a nature is a nature isn't something that's 100% guaranteed. There's always a chance, a slim chance that something will not follow its nature. Understood? Great, got good. There's 3 parts to the sage story. The first, second, third generation. Usually the story goes 2, you start in the middle, then you go 3, the end, and then you go back to number 1. Basically, at the beginning, there's only a need for one singular sage. But as time goes on, more and more sages emerge. More and more of them do. So the first story is about how the sages, the first few sages, going from one to a group of people to where they eventually will be, where there is an organization of sages, of hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe even billions of these sages on a galactic level that are trying to keep the universe balanced. It also deals with the way they got into power, which is the Witch Wars and the first demonic war. After that, the demonic were sealed in the abyss. Which brings us to part 2, which is where where the original story starts, in which we establish the earth as a place of importance, where there's only a handful of sages that are particularly supporting earth and trying to keep balance. And part of that idea is hiding the demonic and hiding the spiritual, so that way people are making choices on their own. With that being said, in the spiritual sense, there is literally a war going around. Of course, most people can't see it, but they can feel it. But the sages can see it. And so there's literally angels and demons fighting everywhere around the world. And there is a group of demons that are essentially kind of the opposite of the sages. Their job is to kind of is supposed to kind of do the same thing. They're trying to prevent the world from knowing whether demons exist and angels exist in the spiritual realm. Mind you, it ends up kind of being like the opposite. The main villain is always coming up with plans on how he can manipulate the world and stuff. Because the way the sages are and the way the demonic is, the sages can't die. And neither can demons. Most of the conflict is the idea that they're protecting Earth, as well as the rest of humanity. And that is the cornerstone of the stories. This secret war that we don't know about. And the third generation, which is mostly the kids from the previous generation, it is about the end of the world. It goes through the entirety of the apocalypse. And it is very collapsed. The idea is that the sages keep the stability of the universe. And at the very, very end, the sages are whittled down to only a handful. And the universe begins collapsing in on itself. And a great war happens between the Antichrist, the demons, the angels, and the humans, and the sages. So that's the first piece of it. Now, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more details and individual things. I will consider talking about those at some point. But for now, I'm just giving you the overarching idea. Kind of like superheroes, but for Christians. Anyway, take that one too well. Anyway, have a nice day. And let me know in the comments about what you think about it. Anyway, have a nice day. 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 Have a nice day.